Greetings, my viewer. Today we are hosting Pauline Kariuki. Pauline is one of us. In that, she's still in financial literacy awareness trainings, and she has done such a good job in the market. And just as a way of introduction, let me just give you a highlight. You do not know we are hosting. Pauline has over 15 years of experience in financial services industry and management consulting. She's as a skilled financial coach, a wealth manager, and a corporate trainer. She's the founder and lead trainer for Corporate Solutions Consultancy, a training, coaching, and consulting firm. She has an extensive background in investment banking, having held various roles at Dyer & Blair, a local investment bank as a branch manager, a head of retail business and wealth manager, investment advisor, a portfolio manager, a head of customer experience, with her wealth of experience and knowledge on best practice in wealth management and investment advisory. She is committed to driving financial success and financial wellness of individuals, families, chairmans, and business by providing tailored financial solutions. Pauline is also a corporate trainer in the areas of customer service, leadership, communications, and training of trainers. And as a personal development and career leadership coach, Pauline has done this job so well. She is a certified mediator, CPM, and a psychotherapist. All this is for Pauline. She's an association member for ISFA, ICX, Institute of Customer Service, KCPA, that is Kenya Counseling and Psychology Association. And the good thing is Pauline is a mom, so she will understand us understand us. And on her side, she is she loves nature and is a garden enthusiast. Have you found all that in one person? First learners, you do not know what we have. And all this is to help us get to understand that abundance is a natural state for us. Today, we will discuss budgeting from an experienced and a certified person. So please don't touch that dial so that you get to enjoy everything. Pauline, I don't know what I might have missed out. Please welcome to the First Learners Network and let them know what I might have missed out. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Martha. And to the First Learners, I'm glad to be here this evening and also to be part of this great community in helping, create the awareness on financial literacy, financial wellness, and overall, just having that financial freedom, abundance in the way that we do life. You've said it all, Martha, about myself. I love talking about money because it's a tool that keeps us going each and every day. It's the reason sometimes why we wake up every morning just to go to our various jobs or our businesses, just to earn some income to help us be able to do life.
Wow. Thank you, Pauline. Yes, First Learners. Pauline loves talking about money. She's experienced. She knows. She has seen people move out from being dependent to being financially free and to actually even living in abundance. So, Pauline, most of us as Kenyans, we love once we get our money, then we use it. After I use it, that's when we wonder, where did our money go to? Please help us. How can we understand budgeting? And what is budgeting so that we don't get back to that point of, we use our money, then we wonder where it went to. Why is budgeting important?
It is a very important aspect in our financial journey. And even before we look at what is our budget, I think it's good to ask ourselves, what is the context to which the budget sits in? And I want us to just think about, the many financial goals that we set. And when we set this financial goal, how do we map them out? And one of the things that we keep saying is that, we want to do great things for ourselves. We want to advance in different ways. But when that is not well planned for, then we are likely to encounter challenges. So in the context of budgeting, I would look at it first from where does it lie in the principle of personal finance planning. And we know in personal finance planning, which is basically how we make informed decisions about our money, is where we look at, how do we make money? How do we save money? How do we budget for money? How do we make the investments for money? So the budget has to sit in all these principles. And even as we think about budgeting, I think it's good for us to ask ourselves some questions regarding some of the statistics in the area of financial literacy. And I was just, doing my research just to understand where are we at as a nation, as a people in Kenya, in terms of our awareness of financial literacy. And it's interesting to realize or to see that in terms of percentages, we are at 38%. That's what studies show in terms of financial literacy awareness in Kenya. And it's interesting because our counterparts in East Africa, Tanzania and Uganda seem to be, not Uganda, sorry, South Africa seem to be a bit on a higher end. They're at 42%. And even as we think about the levels of financial literacy, because they help, this financial literacy plays a big role in understanding why, we play with money the way we do in terms of how we do our savings. And also the statistic on saving rates in Kenya is just about 13%. And this is a study that was done by Central Bank of Kenya, I think about 2 years ago. And they were saying one of the reasons as to why our saving rate is very low is because of this element of lack of financial literacy. Hence the importance of us understanding and putting the context of budgeting in financial literacy and understanding the whole principles of personal finance. And having said that, then we ask ourselves, what is a budget? You had asked me to now look at the element of what is a budget. A budget lies in the pillars, like I've said, of the personal finance, where we say we have our income strategy, which is how do we earn money? Because that's what we'll be using to budget. How then do we manage money, which is our cash flow management strategy? And that's where the budget will sit in. How do we grow our money? Which is also a component in the budget when you're looking at the savings and investments. How do we borrow money? And that helps us understand our credit strategy so that we don't get into bad debts, because that will have an impact in our financial wellness and also impact in how we do our budgeting. Then how do we also protect money? Because at the end of the day, we are saying we want to create a legacy. For us to live an abundant life, to be independent, then we need to also think about that the legacy planning element. So in all this, then budget helps us to play that role in terms of it being a tool to help us track the income strategy, our sources of income, then how are we spending, our spending habits, and also the whole element of savings and investments. And I want to liken budgeting into a habit formation. Why? Because when we get into the discipline of creating a budget, then we get into the habit formation of being able to work with our finances or with our money from an informed perspective, and takes away, the element of guesswork. Because sometimes you may ask someone, would you tell me maybe how much you spend in a month? And I've interacted with a lot of people who are not very keen in being very intentional and deliberate in just knowing how much they are saving. How much they are spending in a month. So the budget comes into play that role. It's a tool Number one, for us to help us achieve our financial stability, have peace of mind, be able to track our income, be able to track our expenses and know which expenses do we give priority, then which ones do we do away with, how do we manage our debt, and also how do we set up systems that will help us to remain within the goals that we have set. Mother?
You, Pauline. Indeed, that is insightful. And as you guided us as we get to that tool, most of us, or most people, especially in Kenya, we do not budget, or even some might never have come about a budget. They only know the budget for the nation and for finance bill. But otherwise, for personal finance, most of people don't budget. So how can someone start budgeting if they've never done it before?
A very good consideration to make. Like you have said, yes, there are very many. For me, even for myself, before I got into the habit formation of creating a budget, I was just doing my finances just like that, with no clear, proper plan of how to do it. So I know there's quite a number of people who are not in the habit of creating a budget, and a budget is a very important tool for all of us, for individuals, whether it is for entrepreneurs, whether it is for organizations, all of us. So where can somebody who has never had a budget start from? Number one is to first identify why. You identifying your why of the budgeting. And that comes in to answer the question of what are your goals? Start with that. First, to understand what are you looking to achieve at the end of the day. And that goes into speak into the element of start with the awareness of tracking your income and tracking your expenses. And as we think about that, also considering, even in the tracking of our income and our expenses, what are your sources of income? If you are employed and you only have one source of income, then it will help guide as to how you do your expenses. And so that if you identify you have financial gaps, then you think around to see how do you fill those gaps. Do you look for a passive income? Do you use the skills that you have to give you that passive income that you're looking for? What are the places where you find that sometimes you're overspending in ways that you should not be doing it? Say, for example, if you realize that your budget for food is quite high, you can make some considerations like, do you want to carry food to the office if it is possible, depending on the context of the job that you do and the industry where you are. Would you consider that sometimes if you're driving, maybe there are days you can carpool if it is possible? Again, just looking at those small places where you can be able to save a coin here and there. So it starts with first creating that awareness in you and knowing that budget is a journey and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent, and you just need to begin. And asking yourself this question over and over, am I spending more than I'm earning? And if I am, then what are these habits or these triggers that are causing you to spend more, or to make you notice that you're spending more than you are earning? Because the minute that we start spending more is when we get into the cycle of bad debt. So you get into a place of borrowing, whether it's the Fuliza, whether it is the mobile money, borrowing from your friends to be able to meet your expenses for consumption. And that's a very unhealthy debt, unless it's a debt that you want to take so that you go back to school and reskill, or you want to grow your business to scale it so that it gives you more income and you're able to manage. So yes, the awareness, then also choosing the right systems that will help you track. What do I mean by this? If it is a simple spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, start from there. If it means writing down on a notebook, start from there, but have a system that is comfortable with you. Nowadays, we have so many apps that we can use. Just load them on your phone. Some are free. Just load them to help you track on that. Then also know which budget method works for you, because we know there are many methods of budgeting. The one we say the 50-30-20 rule, the envelope one, but what works for you, depending on the income level that you are in. And that sometimes can be guided by what are the values that you hold as a person. For example, is a family one of your one of your core values? How do you tie that to your budgeting? So would that mean that you may want to do away with a certain activity to spend more time, say for example, meeting up with friends, like you reduce that to maybe a once or twice in a week if you're doing it more than that, so that you spend, and when you're meeting your friend, remember you are spending. So reduce on that, save that, and then be able to spend more time with your family. So being again aware of what are your values, what values drive you, so that even as you're budgeting and looking at what model or method works for you, consider the value-based budgeting model, because it helps you map around that spend and save within your values. If it is travel, you love life, traveling around the world, be guided by that. Again, the element of goals, I have spoken into that earlier. Start small. Don't stress yourself. Sometimes I've seen people get really stressed out because of budgets. Maybe they're hearing their friends have a budget and they have never set a budget. They're in that place of they only hear the budgets, like you said, of the national budgets. So again, starting small and simple, automating your savings. You can say, I'll be saving 2,000 shillings every month. Start from there, then keep growing up. Again, being able to address your emotional, and because money has an element of emotion and finances as well. So get into a place of asking yourself, what are the triggers that come when you think about money? Do you get excited? Do you get stressed up? And why does that come when that comes up? When you spend, do you feel guilty? When you budget, are you too restrictive on yourself? Ila, you are even constraining yourself. It is so strict that you're not even enjoying life with even the money that you have. And again, have systems that will help you to overcome, to keep reviewing and evaluating your budget process.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pauline. So that means budgeting doesn't mean that maisha ni meboeka, I cannot enjoy. It means I can still budget and leave room for enjoyment.
Yes,
based on my values and based on what I really want in life. Wow.
Exactly.
Thinking about that, mistake.
And maybe, Martha, we can also bring in the element of really being aware of the myths and facts that we have around budgeting, because like you have spoken into ile ya kujinyima, it comes with, some people think that when you do a budget, it's as if you're denying yourself something.
Yes, that's what most.
So being aware, what are these myths and facts around the budgeting element and the money element? Some people limit their lifestyles into you adjust and readjust and just your lifestyle such that there's so much money that you're investing, and also in your account, you want to see your account fat, but you are living a very miserable life. So knowing that a budget is coming to help you be able to make an informed decision that will help you enjoy life.
Wow. So, like, what other common mistakes do people make while doing this budget?
One of the things that I've seen, I think even for myself, is not tracking the small expenses. You know, those two small expenses that you keep incurring. You're going somewhere, you buy a bottle of water, you buy some snack, you go out and you had not planned for it, you take a friend for lunch. It is okay to do all that. However, if it is not well budgeted, if there is no intentionality into it, and you miss to track on those small expenses, then it can cause a lot of financial issues. It's like what we say, small leaks can sink even the biggest ship, like the Titanic, if it has a small leak. So again, when we are not very careful to look into those small expenses, they can easily and quickly eat into your income. The other thing, again, like I've spoken to, is ignoring the element of saving. And I have had a lot of people saying, you live once, YOLO. So you only live once. So some people will say, why save? And I don't know about tomorrow. And again, it's true, nobody knows about tomorrow, but tomorrow can bring in pleasant experiences and very unpleasant experiences. How then do you prepare when those unpleasant experiences come in? And I think also the element of guessing what you're spending without really tracking that with maybe something like an M-Pesa statement. Like the way you look at your M-Pesa statement and you see the money that has come in, money has come out, and you wonder, really, is this me who did these transactions? So guessing some of those costs without really matching them with maybe a bank statement, M-Pesa statement, a credit card statement, or receipts, but you're guessing how much you're spending. I think those are some of the things that really are common mistakes, adding on to the others that we had already spoken to. And before I forget, there's the element of the pressure from friends and the society. Like we have a hangout this weekend. Can we go? Without thinking twice, tuende Naivasha, tunaenda Naivasha. Tuende sijui wapi, we go do. So those small things can really have a big impact with how we do life with our finances.
Thank you, Pauline. Besides those small impacts, there is that, like, I could be planning for my money when I'm alone, but most of the time, the breadwinner have other family members depending on them. What impact do they have, or what are the benefits if they make a budget as a family?
Mother, that is a very critical element that you're bringing in when you bring in the aspect of a family, because we have seen a lot of issues coming in families just because of issues of finances. And when a family is able to sit together and do a budget, what happens? One of the things is that it brings about even the most basic thing, communication. You're able to communicate better when you're looking at money together. You're open with each other. You're saying, this is where I am at, this is my income, these are the expenses of the family. Just bringing that cohesiveness as we are discussing. So besides the monetary or the financial benefit to it, there's these other non-financial benefit to it, like we sit together as a couple, we sit together as a family. If there are children of age who are able to understand, and children, I think even from the age of 5, 6 can be able to understand some basics of budgeting. And so when that is done together as a family, it enhances that. It reduces also the stress levels within the family, because when you're communicating and everybody is clear as to how we budget, this is the much we spend on electricity as a family. So these are our obligations. It is everybody's responsibility to ensure that we are using electricity in the right way. So it helps reduce a lot of stress and anxiety, and also blaming each other. No, it's you who is misusing this. It's you who is not checking into one element of the budget or the other. And I think also it helps to teach financial responsibility, both to if it is a father mother kind of a family setup, if it is maybe a single family, then it helps the children in this family system to understand the benefit of financial responsibility. And that goes a long way as we do our parenting, to be able to help our children, and help them understand the value of money. How do you look for money? How do you plan for money? How do you make informed money decisions? And at the end of the day, it promotes, it promotes the financial security of the family, because we all want to feel secure in our families, even when it comes to finances. And that helps us to even be able to create a safety nest for the family. We know that if mom loses a job, or if dad loses a job, or if the business goes down, then we can be able to readjust, because we have already gone through the process of budgeting and financial awareness and responsibility and collective financial decision making process. There are many others, but I will limit to that for now.
I realize time is not so much on our side, but then
Yes.
is the elephant in the room. At times we may do all the budgets, we may do everything, but then unexpected happens. You get a job loss, your source of income is endangered. At times you get sick and you're unable to do you still go back and adjust your budget, or you still sticking to a budget that you don't have an income to?
When the unexpected happens, and like we said, it can always occur anytime, out of the reasons that you've given. You can be sick, fired, a business goes down. It could be issues to do with the economy, politics, inflation, natural calamities. A lot of things can happen that will impact how we earn our money, or how we get our income. So what do you do at that point? I think the first thing is accepting and acknowledging that there is change that has happened. Because when we acknowledge, then we set our minds to be in a place to be able to readjust. So then we go back to our budgets and say, we will still work with our budgets, but we have to readjust some of the elements in the budget. What are some of the things that we can do away with? What can we cut down on? Is it some of the non-essentials that are in our budget? For example, let me pick on entertainment. Maybe we had a budget of 20,000 in a month, for example, for entertainment. And this includes, if it's a family setup, it's the entertainment of the spouses, and then there is also the children. It could be going for dinners or movies, eating out on Sundays or whatever days of the week. So looking at what are those things that we can immediately cut down on. If we were doing the family lunches or dinner maybe twice in a month, can we reduce to one? And there may be something like subscriptions we can cut on. Think about maybe even something like Netflix. Can we temporarily adjust on that and cut on the subscriptions? Because we are saying we will still pick up. We are not giving up on ourselves. This has happened, but it's only for a period. Understanding the season that we are in and make some temporal changes into it. If it is you're paying rent, is it possible to look for a house somewhere else in the meantime before you stabilize again, or before you get extra sources of income? Because again, if you did not have an emergency fund, then it will become very difficult to maintain the lifestyle that probably you're living. But if there's an emergency fund, then it gives you the advantage of tapping into that emergency fund, and you're able to cover your expenses at that particular point until you're stable. But again, even as you tap into the emergency fund, you have to have the mind of you still need to readjust because you don't know how long maybe the season is going to take. And then we can also reevaluate on what are the goals that you had set. Are there goals that we can push ahead and put on hold? For example, if you're putting up a home, is it possible to first put that on hold? Or do you want to complete it and move from the rental house and go into your house, depending again on the finances available? So some of these things that you have to keep reevaluating. Do you start as what we commonly call in Kenya a side hustle immediately? Are there things at your disposal in the home that you're not using that you can sell? If you have loans, going to your creditors and negotiating for flexible repayment periods, or just telling them to readjust, a few things here and there. Yes, these are some of the things that we can be able to quickly make decisions on, so that we then do not find ourselves going deep and deep in financial challenges.
Wow.
And of course, trying to look for a job. If it's a job loss, you're in that process of trying to look for a job again. We know in Kenya unemployment rate is very high. We don't know how long you're gonna take. So what can we adjust in that time period?
Wow. Thank you so much. That is a reality, and we might not run away from it. In 2 minutes, maybe you can make the concluding remarks. I know we will have to host you soon for a longer period. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. I think for me, what I'll say is that you must be a master of your money, so that the money does not master you, and then you become the slave of it. So being conscious of our money spending habits, being conscious of our values, so that we can be able to, do life and live within the means and based on our values. And again, knowing what is our enough, because personal finance, like we say, it's personal. So again, knowing what is your enough and living within what is your enough, so that we're able to enjoy abundance in life, able to enjoy freedom with our finances, and being the master of our own money. So making conscious money decisions through budgeting each and every day of our lives.
Thank you so much, Pauline. I do not want to add anything. For sure, we will remain masters of our money, and it will remain to serve us, not us serving the money, and the money working for us, not us working for that money. Thank you so much, Pauline. I should host you very soon on another topic, or should the facilitators ask more questions of the budget, I'll certainly come back to you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.